Trump also said it is not an accident that charges were not recommended against Clinton on the exact same day that President Obama campaigned with her. Another critic of the decision is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, who tweeted the decision was astounding. That was his word. In other quotes, he said, degrades Americans' faith in the justice system. The final tweet said, the rule of law has been turned upside down.
Next tonight here to an alarming investigation into doctors across this country.
It's a shocking tale on par with some of the most infamous abuse scandals in our nation's history.
Doctors are figures of respect and trust in our society.
Tonight we learn how that trust has been violated. A new investigation revealing thousands of cases of sexual abuse by doctors.
Across this country, in hospitals and doctors' offices in every state, that oath is being violated. And only now is the scale of the problem becoming known. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution put together a first-of-its-kind compendium of more than 2,400 documented cases over the last 16 years of doctors who have sexually abused their patients. And more than half were able to keep their licenses to practice. Carrie Teagarden was the lead reporter.
Some of these doctors are the most prolific sex offenders in the country, with hundreds and in some cases thousands of victims.
But many doctors get off easy, including the one who lives in this house in Hemet, California. Dr. David Mata, once praised in Congress as a great humanitarian, pleaded guilty in 2011 to 6 felony counts of sexual acts with patients, but received only probation, no prison.
House Republicans grilled Director James Comey about his recommendation that Clinton not be charged.
Secretary Clinton said, I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Secretary Clinton said she used just one device. Was that true?
She used multiple devices during the 4 years of her term as Secretary of State.
Secretary Clinton said all work-related emails were returned to the State Department. Was that true?
No, we found work-related emails, thousands, that were not returned.
The paper's investigation unfolded much like that of the Boston Globe, highlighted in the movie Spotlight, as it uncovered widespread sexual abuse by Catholic priests and efforts by the church to cover it up.
Show me the church manipulated the system so that these guys wouldn't have to face charges. Show me they put those same priests back into parishes time and time again. Show me this was systemic, that it came from the top down.
Syphilis rates are on the rise. First of all, once upon a time we thought, I think syphilis was regarded as something, that's an old disease, it's under control, it's probably eradicated. But that's not the case. What are you seeing in terms of numbers?
Right, it's definitely not the case. So you already pointed out in Chicago, we are seeing now 600, 650 cases a year, up from 300, 350 just 10 to 15 years. And then on the behavioral side, one of the changes that we've seen is that back in the 90s, this used to be a disease that was largely heterosexual. And then really in the 2000s, we've seen an increase in syphilis among gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men.
To the defense of a controversial Springfield pastor accused of crimes against humanity in a lawsuit. Shortly after he preached his theories in Uganda, the country passed an anti-gay law,
where the Iowa Civil Rights Commission is essentially marching right into the church and directing how Fort Des Moines must use its own facilities. It's an absolute unprecedented government overreach.
In the suit, it claims the Iowa Civil Rights Commission is forcing churches to censor its teachings on biblical sexuality and force churches to open its restrooms and showers to members of the opposite sex.
Again, it's just an unconstitutional, unprecedented intrusion of the state into the church.
Earlier, Michelle spoke with Kevin Kelly, author of The Inevitable, Understanding the 12 Technological Forces That Will Shape Our Future.
I think of the movie Minority Report when we talk about this, right?
The ads would actually kind of follow you. The personalized ads would kind of track you as it went through. And some of those things are already happening.
Yeah, I remember a scene where Tom Cruise goes into the mall, and I think it's a Gap ad that tracks what he last purchased.
Well, that's happening on the web right now.
You explain the changes that we can expect to see in 30 years. Tell me about some of those changes.
We're going to be confronting ubiquitous, pervasive artificial smartness. We'll have VR at our disposal by putting on little glasses. We're going to have total tracking of our lives. We probably will charge for our attention to watch an ad or read an advertisement. Those are all going to be coming.
You know, it's pretty amazing the steps the internet has taken in just the last 10 years. But you say this is only the beginning.
I think to look back at this year, 2016, and say you didn't even have the internet compared to what we're going to go to.
It was the most deadly day for law enforcement since 9/11.
The downtown area turned into what can only be described as a war zone.
At least 50 cop cars just flying by. And I've worked downtown for 6 years now, and I've never seen anything like that before.
There's then a standoff and a negotiation with another person who had a long rifle. That ended just a short time ago as that person apparently took his life.
The exodus of officers at the Dallas Police Department continues. News 8 has learned that since the beginning of May, dozens of officers have quit. At this rate, some fear the department could lose up to 200 officers they can't replace.
The officer has worked at DPD for 10 years, and that is what is alarming. The department is not just losing young officers, but veterans and detectives who could be future leaders.
It's been a mass exodus, and I wasn't going to be one of the ones to be one of the last to go. You know, when the ship sinks, I'm not going to be on the band. Like, I'm going to find the next ship.
Sources say so many officers are leaving the department that the personnel office can't process the paperwork quickly enough.
Only on 10, a former Attleboro sergeant is speaking out about an exodus of officers from the city's police department.
You can't be a cop, well, I shouldn't say that. You can be a cop and a criminal.
A former Attleboro police sergeant not mincing words about his former boss today. Michael McDonald calling Chief Kyle Hegney crooked, criminal, and downright dirty.
But they can do whatever they want. And until somebody says something about it, they can.
McDonald is one of a slew of officers who have recently left the city's police department. McDonald claims many are fed up with alleged unethical conduct, saying Hegney once asked him to falsify an accident report for a personal vehicle. He says he left the department despite being just 3 years away from a maximum pension.
I don't feel bad for myself anymore, but I feel bad for the people that are dealing with it now.
And we spoke with a number of officers who say they too were harassed, but none of them, nor the police union, would comment on camera.
In Oakland, California, a third police chief has resigned in just over a week amidst a massive scandal in which multiple Oakland police officers are facing allegations of statutory rape and human trafficking after allegedly having sex with an underage girl. On Friday, interim police chief Paul Figueroa resigned from his post for undisclosed reasons after just 2 days on the job. His predecessor, Ben Farrow, lasted just 6 days on the job. The string of resignations began when police chief Sean Wendt resigned on June 9th. In 9 days, you have 3 police chiefs who resigned amidst this sex scandal.
Police chiefs resigned partly because there appears to have been a wide-ranging cover-up of the sex crime scandal and misconduct. It was discovered, as you said earlier, when police officer Brendan O'Brien committed suicide last year. He named other officers in his suicide note. An internal affairs investigation into the sex crimes was opened, but then it appears to have been quashed at some point in time. It's unclear who in the department covered up this investigation. The story mainly is about the police officers and the leadership in the police department and perhaps other offices who had knowledge that this was occurring and who may have engaged in a cover-up.
This is a bizarre story, the most bizarre of the morning. It's in Rowan County. A man there is suing state and county officials for not allowing him to get married.
But get this, the person or thing he wanted to marry was a laptop computer.
In this day and age, nothing surprises me anymore.
Chris Sevier is from Tennessee, but he is suing Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis, Attorney General Andy Beshear, and Governor Matt Bevin for his failed marriage attempt to this laptop computer. Sevier argues that if same-sex couples have the right to marry, then he should be able to marry his computer.
A fight over religious freedom is brewing in South Central Kansas and sent a warning to the Harper police chief over this. Yeah, you can see it right there. It is a decal up there where it says Romans chapter 13, verse 4.
Gary and Margaret Carrington say they don't understand the fuss about the decal on the back of a Harper police patrol car.
He has a right to have it there if he wants to. I mean, if he had another kind of sticker, would that make a difference?
The scripture, Romans 13:4, clearly seen on the car.
Our final story is from the book of Genesis. It's the story of Noah.
To you, this represents the truth.
The truth, the absolute truth. God's word is the Bible, and it's the absolute truth. I totally believe that.
This timber frame ark is rectangular and enormous. 7 stories tall, almost 2 football fields long. Its dimensions straight from the pages of Genesis.